Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast, episode 102. And we've got a good episode for you. We've got an exciting episode. Let me move this mic down for that camera. We've got an exciting episode for you.
Yes.
It is the PCA Northwest wrap-up. Obviously, Reece's first show of the season. I think people will have seen what happened. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth and see what Reece thinks.
So first show of the season wrapped up. It was a good day. It was a good weekend. It was a nice build up. The peak was lovely. It was a really, really good process. Like we said last week what we were doing, and I think like everything went pretty much to plan. Like we learned a lot. We got a lot of data from it. But at the same time, it was a bit of a bittersweet. Are you all right?
Yeah, just moving the seat.
Yeah, I was going to say a bit all over the place, mate. You can't sit still. So, yeah, it was a bit of I still don't really know how to feel about it. I think I'll look back at this as a positive, like...
It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, yeah. But at the end of the day, so for anybody who doesn't know, I got second out of 4. And I've lost before. I'll lose again in the future. And... this time it just felt a bit different in the sense of like how it was perceived. And I'm not one to like, let's say, throw out that, I got robbed or I felt like I got treated unfairly, because at the end of the day, it's an opinion on how you look. Objectively, that was the best I've ever looked when it came to like how my physique was, how I looked beforehand. In general, like everything, I thought I literally was stupidly proud of how everything had gone. The day before, the day of, I was like, Jesus Christ, I look really good. I was full, I was dry, too dry, if anything.
Very dry.
So dry on stage. But in all aspects, it was a really, really good look in every single situation. I felt good, I felt present. It was a case where like there wasn't really anything that I could like pinpoint and say, oh, well, I didn't do this well enough, in the sense of like, for example, I couldn't not get a pump. Probably could be fuller in certain ways, but like it wasn't where like for every show of my previous season, it was either I was flat or I'd say flat. I didn't even spill. I wasn't full, but that time I was full. Was I full? Probably not. I probably could have been a touch fuller, but in general, in every aspect, I was like, yeah, I was really, really happy. I posed about 20 to 30 minutes before I went on. And I like looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, Jesus Christ, like this is a really, really good look. Like I rarely ever, I said this to Finn, I think a day out, it was on Saturday. And I said to Finn, like, I'm so critical. I come across really confident, but I'm so critical in every single aspect of how I look. As you are when you take care and put a lot of work into how you're going to demonstrate yourself. And I looked to myself 30 minutes before stage and I was like, wow, I literally don't even recognize myself. Like I was I was blown away of how I looked, which is the first time I think in my entire life. And then when you don't get, I'm not gonna say rewarded, but when it doesn't go your way in the sense of a result, it's almost a little bit of a challenging one to kind of take. And it was one of them where, like, for example, I finished second. I would have preferred to have finished fourth, in the sense of I was up against 3 dudes who were all relatively similar, in the sense of all 3 black individuals, black gentlemen. They all had similar shapes. No, but they all had like a similar sort of men's physique. And I don't want to, this isn't racist, but it's like a black guy sort of shape.
More bubbly a lot of the time.
Yeah, bubbly, like tight midsections, round bubbly abs, like thick abs. And PCA, genuinely, like that's a look that physique is just like, it's almost like you have that, cool, you're going to be good in
like
physique.
you say, it's not in any way racist, because if you look at the top of the sport, a lot of the best bodybuilders are black.
Yeah.
A lot of the best sprinters are black. It's not in any way racist. It's just saying that genetically, often they are, let's say, they have a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And also, like you say, like their shape and stuff like that, and the round bubbly muscle, like a lot of the time for somebody who's white, it probably is going to be difficult. You get the odd person who you think, oh, okay, they've got like really good genetics, but it's not racist in any way. It's just a statement that
I literally was
I
was the 4th one to go on, and they was all stood in front of me, and I remember looking at their backs, and I was like, I'm up against like pretty much the same dude 3 times, just a few different things. And that's not me trying to say they all look the same. It's literally just how they were built. So I was like, okay, cool, let's see how things go. I felt good heading on. Everything was sound. I was really happy with how things were. And then I got moved to the middle. So I was the first one to move. I got moved to the middle, and then they moved everyone around me. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, they've moved everyone pretty much to compare against me. I've probably won. And I should mention beforehand, like, I couldn't really tell, but basically there was a bit of an issue. You'd be able to see by the footage and stuff like that. I couldn't glaze up.
It wasn't a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it was a massive.
Issue.
It was the issue. It was the issue. Pretty much, I got my own tan sorted, and the PCA know me relatively well. Like the dude that does the interviews I was chatting to beforehand, like backstage, the guy that calls us on literally didn't even call my name out. He just goes, "Oh yeah, Reece is here." Like, and then he said, "I follow you on Instagram." He was like, "You look sick," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, mate." Like, it was quite a nice, like, it was nice backstage, but they all knew me. And when I walked out, they immediately said, "You haven't paid for glaze." And I was like, "How do you even know? Like, you haven't paid for the tan?" And I was like, "How do you even know that?" Like, they literally said straight away, "You haven't paid. We can't glaze you up." And I said, "Well, I've got my own glaze. Can you just like dab it on me?" And they were like, "No, we can't." So I was like, "Okay, wicked." And you're in a really dark room. Like, you literally, like, you can't.
And at that point, you're like 2 minutes before going on.
You're
so
also being told. Yeah, you're also
like...
being told. 2 minutes till you're on, lads. 2 minutes till you're on. So I basically like ran backstage. I got my glaze, and I like asked the dude, "Can you glaze me up?" And my tan already was stupidly dark.
Tan was too dark.
My skin soaks up tan in every single show. I'm always the darkest one out of like every single person I'm up against. My skin
even against the black guys.
Even against the black guys, I'm the darkest one. I always soak up tan. I think I need to. 2 layers is not. 2 layers is too much.
Yeah, I think you just need one.
Yeah, 1 layer. That's what we're going to do this weekend, and then just like touch me up if needed. Yeah. So Finn's going to be touching me up, but pretty much I couldn't really glaze up efficiently. I got to do just kind of do it, but I needed to like soak myself.
A lot.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't really know because you even if the room was lit, you can't really tell.
The annoying thing is as well, like, I messaged you probably 10 minutes before you went on. And I said plenty of glaze. Remember?
I didn't see the message.
No, I know you won't.
Yeah, you don't. You're not on your phone. You're not sat. Like,
I thought
you're pumping up. But I like literally thought to myself, okay, I feel like you don't really, like I said, you can't really tell. And I've walked out, and I'm not hearing someone say glaze or whatever. Like, you just go through your posing.
Yeah, you don't really. It's like one of the last things you think about. It's like just before you go on, you're like, yeah, put my glaze on. Like, it's not one thing that you really even think about before that.
So like, I didn't even realise till Finn said afterwards. Like, we'll get into this anyway. I'll carry on. But moved to the middle. Went through my individual kind of posing. I was really happy with like how I posed. But Finn said that by like the time that I got through like a couple rounds of transitions, I got better. Because I was sweating. And it's quite funny. Like, my back, for example, was actually glazed based on the fact that I was sweating, and my back looked peeled.
But you didn't look like you were sweating like.
No.
Traditionally on a bodybuilding stage, you'll see people sweat and it like the tan all drips. Yeah. And, like, it wasn't like that at all. No. It was just like, oh, he's a bit warm. Yeah. He actually looks like he's got a bit of glaze on now. Exactly. He looks better.
Yeah, I practiced my posing enough to the point
when
where
you came out, you looked like a non-player character. You know, like when it's like you haven't unlocked that player yet.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, you just look dull. Yeah. Like and you, like I've said, you look too big and your shorts didn't fit.
Yeah.
So like already it was like you still look mint. Yeah. Like I laughed when you came out because you looked too big, and it was just a bit like, and then I was like, why has he got no glaze on? Yeah. And then I was like, his tan's really dark, and then I was like, this is a bit weird. Like, and then I was nervous before. It's like I didn't know any of that was going to happen.
Sanaya said
I was nervous before.
You were really nervous, like,
because I almost had this feeling that it wasn't. Yeah. I don't want to say I felt like something was going to go wrong, but like I just had this feeling that. I don't know why I didn't feel as confident as I should have done, and then that happened. And I was like, it's like I almost knew that something wasn't going to be right. And then I thought, I was like, I should have just been there. I should have been backstage. Yeah. Like, because then you can't really go wrong. No, like, you can't. But you live and learn, don't you?
Yeah. And it's funny because back beforehand, Finn was like, do you want me to like sneak round or come round? And I was like, I'm Sam.
We were like, we don't need to. We were too fair. I said earlier, we were both a bit naive in terms of like thinking. You'll turn up and you'll probably win, and it'll be pretty easy to an extent. Like,
and then we'll get into the overall, see who's up in the overall.
But
I'd already in
the opposite to how we thought with the first show last time, where we didn't even think about the overall. We were just like, let's just do who's best in your class.
It was quite funny. I saw Sheridan like pump up, and I was like, oh god, he's jumped into the show. Wicked. I messaged Sanaya saying, I'll be up against Sheridan in the overall most likely. I was like, this will be fun. I was like, let's see how things go, because Sheridan IFBB, I think his Instagram name is. He'll probably win a pro card this year. But I'm going to be honest, Sheridan, take out IFBB.
Nah, he's nearly a pro.
No, until you're a pro, take it out.
Nah, it doesn't say IFBB pro, it just says IFBB.
Yeah, but like, so what, you done an IFBB? I find that, if I'm honest, that's one of the worst things on social media, IFBB. But nothing against Sheridan. But anyway, Sheridan won the overall, so fair play. And I thought to myself, when I saw him pump up, I was like, sick, wicked, I'll be up against him in the overall. Wasn't to be doing with my class. So, yeah, I'm just a fraud. Very much. So basically, like I said, we'll carry on.
This podcast is cancelled.
Yeah, we'll carry on.
Because Reece is shit.
Yeah, we'll carry on. So I got moved to the middle. I pretty much like held the middle. They moved everyone around me. They called out fourth, who I honestly thought if there was anybody that could have beat me, it would have been him. Backstage, I thought, okay, cool, me and him. He's competed with PCA before. I think he won a 2 Bros overall before. So, like, I think he won a fair few shows. Like, he's done quite well. His name's like Body by James, Body Focus by James. Focus.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he looked really good. Like, very round, bubbly, like men's physique sort of look. For what men's physique is, in my opinion, especially considering like how his shape is. So they called him out of a fourth, and he like fist bumps me, but he looks so confused.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh? What? Okay, fair enough. Clearly, he just wasn't like on. Maybe he looked better before. I don't really know. Then they called out third, and I'd already beat him before. NDM Fitness.
Yeah. He looked good.
Yeah, me and him had a bit of a scrap in the finals when I beat him before. He elbowed me about 20 times. I said to him when I was backstage, I was like, please don't elbow me again. He was like, I don't think there's many in our class. He was like, so I won't need to. But he was sound, like, he's a nice lad. He's just easy to chill with. I was just chatting to him backstage. And then it's me versus the guy who beat me, stood at the back. And I'm like, in my head, like, oh yeah, sound cool. I'll win. Like, this is it. And they call me out. And I'm a bit like, oh.
Yeah,
It was a very, like, I still don't really know how to process it, if I'm honest, because objectively, like, if you look at every single aspect of what I could imagine I got judged on, the only thing I really didn't beat him on is abs
and glaze.
And glaze. So it's like when you're better in a lot of areas, in my opinion, and you don't get the win. It's like, huh? It's a bit strange, but I can understand in a sense of like why I got my feedback and I got told I'm pretty much for PCA too big for men's physique. And I think if that was the case, then just give me fourth, give me dead last, and just say you're too big for men's physique, mate. And I would have gone, okay, cool.
We'd have accepted.
And I would have said, okay, fine,
like
PCA, like it was just a bit of a warm up. At the end of the day, like I could tell just pumping up backstage, I was the biggest dude there by a mile. I was like by quite a considerable margin. Like Finn said about the shorts, I wore 32s. I fit into 28s, and the 32s were tight on my quads. I've got some 34s for this weekend, and I'm just going to have to hope that they're not baggy, like too baggy around my waist. But yeah, so I'm just going to have to play a bit of a role with like trying to draw them in so they're not too baggy around my waist. But yeah, so the shorts were a bit tight. I felt like walking out, I felt like, okay, this is like, I feel like I left PCA and physique as a physique dude. And looking back at it, like, I've gained 10 kilos of stage tissue. I've gained literally 10% of my body weight. And I don't think the look, in my opinion, is very, like, it is men's physique when I pose in a men's physique fashion, but I definitely think I suit more open or classic. No, definitely. Yeah. Not really open. I'm not big enough for open yet. But I definitely think I'd suit that eventually. So it's kind of a bit of a weird situation where, like, it's kind of skewed the perception, and this is what we said straight away afterwards. I said to Finn, like Finn said straight away, like we got off afterwards, and I was like, I walked off stage, and I initially, like my head was like, you're done with men's physique. That was my honest impression. I was like, you're done with men's physique. That you're not stepping on stage in another men's physique kind of show. That was my initial impression, which is rash. It's emotions are high, but I wasn't like emotional. It was just like, okay, cool. I've kind of confirmed, because the last 6 to 8 weeks, in the back of my head, I've kind of have known, I don't think men's physique is, if I manage to get a pro card in men's physique, because in my opinion, and this is, I spoke to Tom Hames about this, and it's the honest truth, in my opinion, my arms and my delts and my back is pro level, arguably for men's physique, arguably I'd say better than some pros. Like I genuinely think I'd hold my own in a pro lineup when it comes to my arms, my delts, and my back. My chest is good, but it could be better for men's physique. It could be a bit bubblier. But I think my top line musculature is exactly where it would need to be. But the problem is if you were to put me in a pro lineup, I wouldn't look out of place. But if you were to put me in an amateur lineup against 3 dudes who are very, very small in comparison, I do look out of place to somewhat of an extent.
Yeah, so it wasn't even the size that made you look out of place so much. It was more so the tan and the glaze, like...
That's the frustrating thing, because it's like if I had the tan and the glaze nailed,
if your tan was more golden than just really dark, and if you had a lot of glaze on like the guy that won, I think it'd have been like pretty simple.
I think it would have been. I think I would have won the class.
I think the guy that won, like I said earlier, I think he won because he had more detail through his midsection.
Yeah, but then
That's really all. That is really like all he had. No offense to the guy, he looked great. But
he did. He had really good. His condition was really good.
Yeah, but that's all he had, was that he had a little bit better condition through the midsection than everyone else. Yeah, but his posing was worse than everyone else's. Yeah. So like, in my opinion, like if you were to, obviously if you were to just judge it off condition, then he wins.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. PCA, like we said before, PCA...
That might be the look they go for.
Go for...
They went for Sheridan in the short class. Yeah.
But he wasn't out of shape, you know what I mean?
He wasn't out of shape, but I think, like, Richard Felly, he's probably in, arguably, I'd say, better condition than him. And he's less... I'd say, he's more...
Not really good.
Yeah, he looked really good. Like, the both did look really good. Like, the short lineup was class. The short lineup was really good. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a... It's one of those where, like I said, the last 6 weeks or so, I've kind of had in my head, not really sure where the kind of, like, the next sort of steps are, especially considering I've always been very much a case of I do it out of the love for training. And then when you get, like, a confirmation of, okay, you kind of, like, you've brought the best look you've ever brought, you're really happy of how things are, and then you don't get the result. It's a little bit awkward, but then at the same time...
thing is, you did bring the best look you've ever brought, but you didn't. Like, to the actual
I know, to the
stage, it's frustrating. You did, but then with the glaze and the tan, you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an awkward sort of situation to be in, but at the end of the day, like, and as well, the outcome has skewed perception of how things were. If my glaze was on point, if my tan was good, I would have won the class. I would have got into the overall. I would have had a real good battle with Sheridan. It would have been good to have seen a guy who's going for a pro card. I'd argue that I probably would have done him in some shots. You'd
have beaten on the back poses, but I think he'd have won the others.
Yeah, and I think it would have been a good little tussle between us, and then it would kind of give me understanding of, okay, where do I fall? Where am I? And then that would have given me a good amount of information to kind of take the appropriate steps moving forward, which would have been obviously to continue with how things are. And since then, it's been a case where, like,
mental that literally just for the fact that you didn't glaze properly and your tan was too dark, the whole perception has changed.
Where it's like
it shouldn't have.
No, it shouldn't have, because at the end of the day, like, I had the same level of condition, I had the same level of muscularity.
You look really good. You were somewhat full. You weren't really full, but you look really good.
Yeah.
You were in great condition. It's just that your midsection isn't very good, which we know. It's not. It's better than it was, but it's not as good as the three guys that you're against, which is a big part of men's physique, which is again why you're probably more suited towards bodybuilding, which we know anyway in the future. But that is literally it. Like, glaze, tan, and the fact that your weakness was everyone else's biggest strength. Like,
and I'm up against three dudes who, like I said, had all the strengths that I don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, that's a bit frustrating, where I almost wish, like, I had 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of the people, but they all had different strengths and like different weaknesses.
I think if you'd have been, well, like I say, even if you'd have glazed properly, you'd have won. But if you'd have been in the short class and had a good tan and glazed properly, and let's say Sheridan wasn't in it, I think you'd have won that.
Yeah.
And there was more competition in that class, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So it's one of them where, like, we take it, we move on. Like, since then, it's been a bit strange because, like, there's been a few things that have, like, popped up that have just kind of been causing not, like, a bit of grief, but pretty much, like, in the sense of, like, for example, mentally, I've been like, when I got off stage, I was like, I don't want to do men's physique. That's it. But then I was like, no, you're here now. The prep's been a breeze. Just crack on. You'll be fine. And then I woke up Monday and I was like, I trained Monday, which was probably not a good decision. Like, my natural inclination, whenever anything doesn't go my way, is right, just crack on, carry on.
I don't think it is a bad decision, because I think if you hadn't have trained, you'd have probably felt worse. You'd have been thinking about it more. Like, and you look really good on Monday.
Yeah, I did look really good. So
you probably felt, I look really good. And I'm actually, in your head, you're thinking, I didn't look very good. I didn't look good. And then you train and you pose, you go, actually I do look good. Like, so I don't think that Monday session was a bad idea.
It was more so like accumulated fatigue. Like, I trained in the build up to the show. I'm stage condition. I've been very, very lean for a long time, which I haven't. You don't realise. Like, I've been legitimately like dipping my toe into stage condition for probably the last like 6 weeks, and maybe even longer, like 8 weeks. So the toll of that is going to play a role, and my training's been very productive. And like Monday, I finished the session, and I remember it was like almost a wave of like just pure stress after during the session, where like I just felt like I'd just been hit by a bus, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it felt like the end of the world on Monday night. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, this is so odd. Like, 'cause I'm usually like, in any situation, I never lose my head. I didn't lose my head, I was just in my head constantly thinking, God, this is like the end of the world. And I was like, I just need to chill out. So I woke up on Tuesday. I literally went for a walk on Monday night, and I said to Snat, I think I need to take tomorrow off as a rest day, just chill out. Food wise, my body, I like consistency, and I think I'm the only man at this point to probably want to have less food, because it's literally been a case where on from Thursday of a week and a half ago, we literally had 7 days worth of high food. We then had 2 low days, like 2 pro fat days, Friday, Saturday. In hindsight, we only really
had a
one.
pro fat day and then like a pro moderate day.
Yeah, we had a moderate day. In hindsight, probably only just 1 day of that. And then pretty much since then, it was a high day Saturday, like probably around 800 carb. Sunday, show day. Finn said to me afterwards, he was like, go get a burger if you want. He was like, start the filling up process. I'm like, I'm not having a burger. I'm not having a burger. I haven't won. The last thing I'm going to do is be like, yeah, let me go and get...
No, whether you won or not, I wouldn't have mattered what you needed. But you did look a bit flat on the day. But I don't think it was more... I think it was more so water.
Water, yeah, I agree. And then on Monday, ran high food again. But I think like we ran like 850 carbs. That was my usual high day. But the food was just sitting horrendously with me. Every meal.
Just stress.
Yeah, every meal. It was just awful. Like, wasn't sitting well with me at all. I went to bed at 108.5 kilos. And I was 98 kilos morning fasted Sunday. So granted, the weight you go to bed at is not going to be...
I did binge post.
No, I didn't. The weight you go to bed at is obviously going to be heavier. Like after a high day, I'll be probably like 104 to 106 kilos going to bed, because the food volume, obviously I've not gone to the toilet, stuff like that. The like glycogen stuff, just generally stuff like is going to hold an extra total amount of kind of cellular, let's say, weight. And I went to bed and I was like, yeah, I'm not digesting food at all well. Like, this is just not... Like, every meal was sitting heavily with me. And I could just tell I was, like, really, really stressed. So Tuesday we ran a pro-fat day. I woke up at 103 and a bit kilos. I dropped, like, 2 and a bit kilos. But then it was, like, the highs and then the lows. Like, like yesterday, I wasn't hungry. It wasn't I was, like, hungry, but my body was like, what the fuck are you doing eating-wise? Like, you've gone from eating, like, here to here to here. Like, it's just all over the place. But it was a good day in the sense of just chilling out yesterday. Like, Finn deployed FIFA protocol. Yeah. So I got most of my work done by like 1 p.m. And then I literally... SDS. Shout out SDS.
So
they
we know you watch.
Yeah, they had a UCL draft. Should we carry on? Yeah. We had a UCL draft. So I watched that, played a bit of FIFA, just chilled out, and then woke up today at 101-ish kilos. Feel a lot better. We've ran another rest day today. I probably could have trained. Like, I feel better today, but I felt better and I looked a lot better. Like today, I felt like I looked
tired yesterday.
Yeah, I looked tired. Like, my body felt tired. My mind was
you were
tired.
Mentally, physically a bit drained.
Yeah. So today I feel a lot better. Like, I woke up, had a bit of a word with myself where I was like, I thrive off just confidence and me being me, and it's like I just need to get back into a bit of a groove, into a bit of a sync. So yeah, I feel better today. In the sense of how things are. I felt sound yesterday. It's just there's a lot of things that are pulling me in different directions mentally. Where like there's a part of it where, for example, I'm not digesting food well, which is causing a bit of a stress. That's obviously going to be leading from the show weekend of inconsistencies of food. Likewise, a pretty shitty result where, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a bit shit. Then I also have the fact of, obviously, I'm now in a peak for another show. And then I've also got a bit of a knee issue, which is also annoying me. Luckily, I've got some clarity of mind on that. And it's like, there's just a few things where it's like, this is getting a bit frustrating. And then also the fact of, and then also the fact of, let's say, when it comes to like plans of action moving forward, when it comes to like the prep and how things are, like, and if anything, this is when you actually need to remind myself just to take it day by day. Like, the prep has been...
Yeah, and like communicating just makes it so much... Like, when you sent me that voice note yesterday morning, I just literally wrote everything down and was like, right, do this. And it's like, you're just sort of ticking the boxes off. Like, yeah, your knee's fucked, message Aaron.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else you can do, so don't worry about that. Message Aaron, go and get it looked at. Like, you're stressed, get your work done, rest day, chill out, play some FIFA. Like, it's like, you can't... If you just think of it all in one, it feels like a massive thing. Yeah. When you sort of break it all down, you sort of compartmentalise it. You go, well, actually, it's only these 5 things that are stressing me out. If I actually just try and sort of break these down and focus on one at a time, I'm actually not that bad. Yeah. Like, but it's difficult when it feels like it's a lot. No,
definitely. And like I said to Finn, the one joy is like mentally, I'm not the sort of guy to like, let's say, oh, I'm stressed. I'm now not going to do my cardio, or I'm going to go out and binge and have an extra 500 grams of this. Like, I just, if anything, I do the opposite, where I like just want to do more. So for me to chill out, it was definitely well needed. So like I said, yesterday was just a case of chilling out, pro fat day. Today we've ran 2 pro fat meals, and then we've put in 100 gram of carbs in the last 3 meals. And then we're pretty much going to be seeing how things are, probably running. Yeah, like we're training tomorrow. So yeah, so pretty much 3 meals today to finish the day with 100 gram of carbs. We'll assess and see how things are. Like I went to the gym after physio, and pretty much like the look was really, really good. Like I said, the look this morning was good. I could tell the difference between one day of just chilling out. The look was completely different. My legs looked so much fresher. Like my upper body looked full. Like just going through posing, I could feel like, oh, I feel better. Yeah. So yeah, a bit of carbs going in today. In reality, I'll probably will drop weight. I might hold because I'm 101 kilos, so like it'll depend really. But again, I can be fuller. The plan originally was to get to about 104-ish to 105 and then have a day of washing off, and that was what we were going to run into this weekend. But with the digestion stress and the fact that like training, we can take rest days, it'll probably be more of an aggressive load towards the back end of the week.
You've got to be adaptive. That's the whole point of a prep. Like I know you were saying, sort of you thrive off consistency, like we all do, but a prep towards the end is almost the opposite.
Yeah,
like,
it's day to day,
which is difficult because I don't enjoy that, and the whole prep itself hasn't been that.
No,
the whole prep's been very consistent. We know what we're doing. We've planned it out, but then when something goes a little bit wrong, which it did at the weekend, we go, oh. And then you question things and you go, well, should we have done this? Should we have done that? And like, I literally think the look was really good. Like I say, if we're talking about physiologically what we could have changed, I think you could have just drank a bit more on the day and been a little bit fuller from that. Yeah. But that was it physiologically. If we're looking at aesthetically, we know tan, glaze, even like cosmetics in terms of making you like your face look a bit neater with your tan.
I look better when I smiled.
Yeah, smiling is a massive thing. Yeah. Your armpit tan, the patchy, like little things like that. Like they're all things we can fix on the day.
Sanaya said instantly,
they're not things that we need to stress about.
No, there wasn't a single thing, in my opinion, that we could have done differently in the sense of like what can't be fixed within a few days.
No. Well, if like, within a minute, within 5 minutes. Yeah. If we'd have, or within the time.
Well, you said like, oh, I'll win the class because I'll probably have just done enough to like win the class, and then we'll sort.
Well, that's what I said. I thought like I remember saying to Sanaya, I said this is closer than it should be. Like when I was watching, but what I meant was like because of the fact of the tan and the glaze, and I was like, right, he's won. He's still won. Like, I thought he still won, so now we just need to fucking make sure we sort this out and put a lot of glaze on and get more of a pump and drink more water, and we'll be sound for the overall. Yeah. And then when you got called out second, I was like, well, can't even do that now.
So that's it. And I was like, I remember coming out, I think the first thing I said was like, it's 2:30 p.m.
Yeah, it was
the day's done. I was like,
an anti-climax.
Yeah, I was like, what? It's 2:30. I was like, I thought it'd be a long day. I was like, I was hoping.
To be fair, the overall was only on at like. It was about an hour after that latest.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I went back in and watched the rest, and it was done within half an hour. Yeah. You wouldn't have been waiting around long. Well, no. You wouldn't have even had much time to eat, I don't think. It'd have been like get some rice cakes in and go.
Yeah.
And get some water in you.
Yeah. That's it. Drink water, guys. I did drink water.
Yeah, it's not that, but you drink so much that when you drink a little bit less, it makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we know what to kind of look upon for this weekend. So it will just be a case of taking it day by day. I'll be training tomorrow. Either we'll probably do push and then pull, or just an upper session. I think like you said earlier, like I could easily just rest up into this weekend.
I think an upper session tomorrow and a high day, and then a rest day with a high day.
Yeah,
and then you'd be spot on. Yeah. I think you'd probably be 103, 104.
Yeah.
You'll be full, but you'll be like much less stressed. Another rest day on top of that. Even tomorrow, like a really easy upper. Just literally go in and get a bit of a pump alongside a high day, but a high day within foods that are digesting well.
Yeah.
And then we should be sound for that one day where we have the wash off.
The wash off day. So yeah, and that's something again.
Your tan off. How much have you got your tan? Have you got a good amount of your tan off?
The most. I've had a shower every day, but it's hard to get off. So yes, and then also we're only doing 1 layer of tan this weekend. 2 layers, like I said, is a bit too much. And then we'll go into Sunday. We'll see. Obviously, it's going to be 2 bros, so it's a different kind of criteria. Objectively, they are like it's a bigger. They
definitely suits you more.
Yeah, they go for a bigger sort of look. Which, to be fair, last time I competed, I thought PCA suited me more. Where this time, it's definitely
only difference is the posing's a bit of a shame.
The posing's a bit boring. It's just literally a front and back shot, but. We'll see how things look, obviously relative to what 2 bros go for. I'm in 2 classes. I'm in the novice, so that'll be like the first 3 competitions with them. I think I could have done the beginner, but I was like, I'm not going to do beginners. I'm in the novice and I'm in the open.
What is beginner? It's got to be. There's not.
I think no novice is you've never won an overall, or won a class.
Beginners
with
the
them.
first three.
Beginners first three. So I could have done beginner.
Have they got first timers as well?
No, because I've competed with two.
I know,
before.
but I'm saying like.
Yeah, so I'm doing novice and open class. I think I'm D because of my height.
Yeah, I think you are.
So yeah, 2 classes there. So I'll be literally like on, off, and then we'll see. I'm on at 1 p.m. So it's a little bit. Is it earlier? What time was I on? No, similar sort of time. So we'll probably run the same sort of approach. Obviously, again, depends on how things are. But I ran 2.
Do the exact same.
Yeah,
2 layers of tan. No glaze.
2 layers of tan. No glaze.
Don't drink enough.
Don't drink enough water.
Don't smile. Yeah, do all the stuff we did wrong.
Every single thing, and like look really good before, and
then
just
go,
like,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
we've done that.
Yeah,
we've done what we take the piss out of.
Yeah, we have.
Already 10 minutes
so
before.
Good. I looked so
glaze.
good 10 minutes before, and then I just instantly like someone came up to me and just washed all my glaze off. And it just looked so bad. But yeah, so that'll be the case for Sunday, and then it'll literally be a case of just going from there and assessing. Like at the end of the day, like I said, I think I know already, and this is the annoyance. It's like, and I've known for the last like 6 weeks. I don't think men's physique is for me after the improvements I've made, which is a bit weird. It's a bit of a strange sort of feel, but at the same time, like objectively, I look better in my opinion than I actually thought I would, relative, maybe not to men's physique criteria, but relative to actually physique development. Like I didn't think I'd look as good as I do. And that's me being quite honest in the sense of I came down in the summer and I remember I was like 106 kilos. And I remember saying like, I reckon if I pulled off another like 6 or 7 kilos, I'd probably be in stage condition. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't think I need much more muscle for men's physique. And the next push-up was less aggressive. I didn't like push drugs up that high. It wasn't really a case of like I didn't try to work body weight up that high. It was literally just slow and steady, make improvements where needed, like train the shit out of my abs because my abs need to be better. They still do need to be better, but they did actually improve a fair amount from the summer, and just bring up weaker body parts. And on the way down this time, I've looked at myself and like I said, I genuinely look at myself after I train, and while I'm training, I'm like, God, I actually look really good. Like I look better than I thought I would do, if I'm honest. So there's also a thought process where I'm like, I probably didn't need a year off. Like, but then it also leads me to believe, like, let's say
you didn't for PCA, but the goal was never PCA anyway.
No, exactly. But we'll see how the weekend goes, and then that'll give us a good understanding for where the kind of future's gonna entail. There's a likelihood potentially that I do step on a bodybuilding stage or do a classic show. Yeah, it depends
just
on
for practice.
Depends. Yeah, it's one of those. This is where my head's at with that though, and this is again being quite honest. I'm almost a perfectionist in what I do physique wise, and in my opinion, I wouldn't want to step on a bodybuilding stage until, granted, I know I train like a bodybuilder. I don't train just like a men's physique athlete.
Until you're really like impressive as a bodybuilder.
But until, in my opinion, I've done everything that's needed to be a bodybuilder, aka I've trained the shit out of my legs, so I know my quads wouldn't be a weakness. I've brought up my glutes, and my chest would match my kind of like relative to upper body, like front poses. Because, like, for example, if I was to hit a front relaxed, I'd be thinking my outer quad sweep needs to be better, and my chest needs to be better for that sort of shot, relative to my delts and how wide I am. If I was to hit a rear shot, I'd look at my hamstrings and go, Jesus Christ, my hamstrings are wicked. Like, my hamstrings on the side, really good. But my glutes would need to be better. My lower back would need to be better. And there's things that, like, I think it's one of those where I'd have to take all pressure off myself if I was to step on a bodybuilding stage, which I think I would do. I'd be able to, because I'd be like, let's just get my feet wet. Let's see how it goes. And I know that I'd actually look pretty good based on the fact that my shape's really good for bodybuilding and classic. The problem is I wouldn't make weight classic, and I'd struggle, and it would be towards the latter end of a prep after being stage lean for very long to then have to dig again. It probably wouldn't be too productive from a physical standpoint.
The best option would be do a bodybuilding show in something like PCA or FitX or NFM, just to see how you look and just enjoy it.
Yeah, and
take a bit of pressure off yourself. Don't be so like obsessed with having to look perfect.
No.
Like, it's not like the goal isn't to be in that show, be the best bodybuilder ever. It's like just to see.
It
what
would be like, right, this is the next sort of step for where things are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way I'd have to go about it. But then at the same time, like I said, I've got my head where I'm like, nah, just go back into an off season. Like, there's a genuine thought process, like I said, after the weekend, and even maybe after this weekend, where I'm like, why waste time? Why not get straight into an off season, make the improvements needed? I added 10 kilos of stage condition, and my back's sharper. If my front was glazed, I'd argue I was sharper in every area. So 10 kilos of stage tissue in 18 months. If I was to do the same again, I'd be very, very, very good. like very competitive in any show, in my opinion, relative to the fact of my shape. I'm never going to be an absolute mass monster. I wouldn't be on the Olympia stage. I don't think I'd be on the Olympia stage, other than if I was to potentially be like classic in the sense of, and I'd have like let's say my quads in a really good spot. But I don't think I'll ever be, and I've never really said I want to be on the Olympia stage. That's never been the goal. But
it's the one goal.
Yeah, I'm never going to be Samson. I'm never going to be Samson. I'm not going to be someone like that. But I know that I could be a very, very good pro. Like, in my opinion, I think I'd be. I think if you were to add 10 kilos onto my frame in the right areas,
be good in classic as a
yeah.
pro.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I could be very good in classic as a pro, but it would more so be relative to the weight cap. But so if I was to imagine win my pro card in open and then just go to classic downside, that genuinely wouldn't actually be a bad option. Like, or I'd be able to win my pro card in open and then potentially go to classic.
Physique and then go.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an awkward one. So it's one of those where we'll see how things are. We'll know more so. Like the exciting thing is, and this is the way I've got to look at it, and this is the way that I've got to view it. It's all opportunities, and I've put myself in this position through my work ethic and how I've got myself to this spot. So now it's a case of just enjoying where I'm at. I'm stage condition. The process has been an absolute breeze. I feel really good. My food focus is non-existent. I have absolutely, the only issues are let's say sleep, and potentially let's say my sex drive's non-existent, and my mental focus and cognitive energy is horrendous. But in all aspects, I'm surviving, and I'm not on my arse flagging where I'm like, I don't want to do this. It's more so just a case of me assessing and thinking, let's see how the weekend goes, and then we'll know, right, cool, let's go from there. So, yeah.
In other news, I'm going to do men's physique.
You said this. What?
You just ignored my message.
Yeah, what's this about? Are you doing men's physique?
I messaged you asking, have you got any shorts I can borrow?
Are you doing men's physique?
Well, if you give me your shorts, I might try it, yeah.
Okay, so come on, Finn, tell us. That's me done. That's my part.
It is, but we are going to go through the PCA show, so stick around, guys.
Are we?
We're going to go through we're going to go on the Instagram and just have a bit of a review of the other, because this is what I wanted to do. Like, when we go to shows throughout this year, we're going to report back to the people that didn't get a chance to go.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Don't check your time, mate. It's all right.
No,
I'm not going to keep you here all day.
The questions and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I know it might be a bit of a long one, but not too long.
Okay.
It's okay. I've got to eat, you know.
I've got to eat as well.
Yeah, I'm digging. You're not digging anymore.
No, but you've got body fat on you, mate.
I don't know. Not on my upper body. This is why I'm doing men's physique.
Okay,
So
Finn's doing upper body. Upper body. Finn's doing men's physique. I didn't even know about this.
No, I'm not. But I might get you to seriously, like, just let me borrow some shorts, and I might start practicing the posing. I don't see why it would be that bad of an idea to just try a men's physique show, like,
imagine
8 weeks out from my first actual show. Mate, my upper body's really not far off. Like, I didn't even realise until I posed in Premier.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just thinking it's funny how, like, we're both like...
Wait, we should be doing the other.
We both came into this season and we were like... And I was like, a year ago, 2 years ago, if you were to say to me, you're going to be saying you're going to do open or classic, I'd be like, no chance, bro, I'm men's physique. And if you were to say to Finn, like, 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 weeks ago, if you would say...
Last week.
Last week. You would say to Finn, oh, yeah, bro, you're going to do men's physique. You'd be like, no chance.
No, I just, like, the thing is, I probably... In all seriousness, I probably won't do it.
Yeah.
Like, but
that means
I might actually try
on. £10 off what you were on stage last time.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I've not put any muscle.
No.
No, my upper body is really not far off. Like, my legs are miles off, which is so annoying, because just if my legs were in the same condition as my upper body, I'd be like, okay, I need to compete in 2 weeks a month. Like,
I'd say a bit longer, personally.
I don't know. Like, my upper body's not inside out, but it's... No. I think I could easily step on stage now doing men's physique, and I don't think I'd look out of place.
Yeah, you'd be leaner than my front on stage.
I'm leaner than the majority of people,
You'd be leaner than my front on stage.
I do think I would.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I don't know why. I think maybe because of the weekend as well, obviously looking at all the physique classes, I was thinking, like... And to be fair, it was Monday. Like, when I posed on Monday in Premier, because Premier have got a new posing room, I was like, my upper body, look, is really a lot closer than I thought. Like... I think a lot of it is the lighting in there.
Is it good? Is it like
it's realistic, but it's good. Okay. Like, it's a lot more realistic than Rotherham, but it's good. But my legs are miles off. Yeah. Partly because they're not as good as my upper body, but also just because I store a lot more fat there. But I've got, like, in terms of body fat distribution, I've got a very good, like, my genetics for physique are very good in terms of I could be this condition year round and I would feel absolutely fine. I could probably be another 5 to 8 pounds leaner than this and feel fine.
Yeah.
but my legs still wouldn't be.
No, you say that though, but like you also mentioned to me like the other day, you were like, "Oh, my dick hasn't worked for a month," and
Not
like
really. No, I didn't.
you said it's like being pretty inconsistent. You were like, it's starting to die.
It's been absolutely
slightly.
fine. I'm just in an evening. I'm more tired than.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Like it's absolutely fine. My dick. Thank you guys.
Finn's dick still works.
My dick is absolutely fine. No, I'm actually sound. Like yeah, it's not. But it's not even sex drive. It's energy.
Yeah, I know.
It's just energy in an evening. Like even like when me and Shannon just like sat chilling for the last like 10-15 minutes of the day.
Yeah.
Before we'd chat and we'd like.
If we chat for 10-15 minutes, you'd be like, right, time.
Yeah, we've got time.
You're getting shagged now. Come here, babe.
We'd chat and we'd like she'd say something and we'd have a laugh or whatever. Like whereas now she'll like talk to me and I'm just like, we'd have a quickie. Yeah. And then another one downstairs, then another one. Yeah, just all the time. Now you see, it's just maybe one or two a day.
That was like me and Sanaya in Egypt when I had my nipples sliced, so I wasn't training.
I had loads of energy.
Oh mate, it was ridiculous. So this is something I think we spoke about on the podcast before.
When I went to Italy, just had energy.
3 weeks of not training, my sex drive
1
was
week.
Like legitimately like not. When people were like, "Oh, it's through the roof, bro." I literally it'd been like 20 minutes. Like we'd woken up, we'd gone down for breakfast, we'd done something in the morning, and then like during breakfast, I'm like, I could go again. I was thinking to myself, this is just from not training, like because I'm not absolutely battering my body. Yeah,
not training.
Yeah, and I was like, because my body isn't just like, oh god, I've got to get another meal in. I'm stressed out because of let's say I've got to get to here, I've got to get to there. Like I'm thinking to myself, God, this is what like probably PEDs. Even though I was cruising at that point, but I was like, this is probably what PEDs and like not doing a lot results in.
PEDs, I think just low fatigue.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you want your sex drive to be high, manage your fatigue.
Stop training.
Yeah, stop training. Just sit around, do nothing. Yeah. So yeah, where were we getting with that?
I'm doing physique.
Okay,
that's where we were going with that.
Finn's doing physique.
So yeah, probably I'm about 8 weeks out from a physique show.
Do you reckon you'll do one? Honestly, like, what do you reckon?
I don't know. I'm gonna try your shorts on and practice posing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'd probably beat you at the weekend.
Jesus Christ. To be fair, PCA, yeah, you're a lot smaller.
I've got decent abs.
Yeah,
I'd smile.
Yeah, you'd smile. Yeah.
I love a smile, mate. Yeah, I competed. I was like,
yeah. God, imagine if I got beat by Finn.
That'd be so funny.
That I honestly would not be. I'd retire. I'd be like, right, that I would have actually sacked off prep. That would have been me.
Why? Why am I not good enough? Why? What's wrong with me?
Getting beat by a natty
what's wrong with me?
Who's 60 pounds lighter than you. I'd be like, okay, that's it.
I wonder what the guy weighed that beat you.
I genuinely think I had 25 kilos of stage. He was definitely not heavier than 75 kilos.
Yeah, maybe.
And he was similar height to me. Sick.
Right, guys. So if you want to have a quick look on the PCA page, we're going to go through the reels so we can go through like the people that were on. So first of all, we got Danny Howarth, junior winner. He was on his own, bless him. I got there literally. I wanted to get there to see Danny, and we got there probably 5 past. It started at 11.
I'm not too sure.
I think the show started at 11. We got there at 5 past 11, and I quickly ran in, and Danny was literally just walking off with his trophy. I got a photo of him like bowing to the crowd. So I'm sorry I didn't catch all of it, mate. But Danny looked really good, and then he did go into the overall, and he got beat. But the guy that beat him, the guy that won the overall, I don't know. I know his name on Instagram is Blade.
Yeah, Blade.
Blade Online Coaching.
6 foot something like 250 pounds, like an absolute behemoth of a bloke.
He is.
I didn't realise he was sat backstage with me. And I remember thinking to myself, he walked in, he had to duck down. And I was like, this dude's just like a big dude.
Yeah, he was massive.
Like just a very imposing, like.
His name's Craig.
Bloke, like yeah.
He was very good. Yeah, his name is Craig Madden, and his name on Instagram is I think it's Blade Online Coaching. He was very good, really big. Condition was very, very good. Coached by Tom, Evolution Training.
Yep.
He was really, really good. Like stood out by a mile. He was the best in the overall by a mile. Yep. Like really good. Novice class wasn't too much to cover. There was a few good guys in there. And then classic. So Sam Astle, who trains at Evo, where we train.
Also coached by Tom.
Yeah, Sam came second in classic to a guy called Marcus Ellison, who deserved it, to be fair. Like Sam looks mint. We know like Sam's going to do very well this year, I'm sure. Sam's got like a really good future, and he did look really good, but he didn't look his best, and he'll know that. He was a little bit off. He was nowhere near as conditioned as Marcus, but Sam's shape and size still, he should have, like, he would have won if it was based on that. But again, like we said, PCA based it a lot of conditioning, and that Marcus was absolutely shredded, like peeled. Really dry, absolutely peeled, and he looked great. To be fair to him, he did deserve to win. Then it was, I think it was Novice Classic, or was it Classic Tall? Classic Bodybuilding Tall, yeah. A guy called Craig Homer won that one. He looked really good, to be fair. That was actually quite a good class. This was, I think, just before you got here.
Okay. Yeah.
That was quite a good class, because it was him and another guy who is the reel below him called Dan Burke, who came in second. They were actually quite close. So that was quite good. Then it was Masters. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the Masters. And then I'll be honest, I didn't watch the female classes. But then we get on to men's physique. Do you want to go through men's physique? Go through the junior?
Yeah.
Come on, you got to do it, mate.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know. Junior, that was Alex.
Alex.
Was he on his own?
He was on his own, but he looked good.
Yeah, he jumped in early.
Alex Gammons.
Yeah, Alex Gammons.
Jack Eagle's
Shout
client.
out, Alex. Thank you for the food discount at the... Do you know who that was him?
Did you?
Mate, we had food together at the pub.
That was
him. Yeah, did you not know that? Oh,
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, so basically, there's a... What's it called? In Liverpool.
In Liverpool, there's a place...
on Albert Dock.
Me and Reece went for food. I see it now, yeah.
Yeah, on Albert Dock, we went for I went to a food place with CSN last year, and after the FitX, and it begins with... I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was a nice place.
Yeah, it was a really nice place. But I feel like it begins with a T. I don't know.
Okay, it's right on the docks.
Yeah, it's right on the docks. It's a lovely pub. And anyway, I said to Sanaya for like time before prep, I'd like to go there again for food, because I got a real good burger, KFC burger, absolutely banging, really good food. And then we went to Liverpool, me, Finn, Sanaya, and Shannon, and we booked a table there. And Alex worked there, and he'd messaged me on the way up saying, coming up to Liverpool, like best not bump into each other. And it's weird that he literally worked at the pub that we went to, and there's loads of pubs.
And he gave us a discount.
He gave us a discount.
And he did us a mini Guinness or a baby Guinness.
Baby Guinness, a baby Guinness. And we basically asked him for his most fruity drinks.
Yeah, his most homosexual drinks.
Homosexual drinks, that's what we asked for. Our exact words were actually, give us the most homosexual drinks you have, because that's what me and Finn want. So thanks for the homosexual drinks. Thanks for the discounts.
Is that homophobic?
No, it's pro-homo.
Oh, is it? Yeah, because we're supporting what...
Shout out, no offence to any straight people watching. No offence to any heteros.
We didn't want a beer.
Yeah, we didn't want a beer. We got a baby, but a Guinness. Guinness.
Baby Guinness.
Baby Guinness, yeah.
It's alright.
Nonce.
We're a nonce for our pints.
Yeah. Shout out to
I only like pints that are babies.
I only like pints that babies. God, we're so bloke-like. So pretty much Alex won the juniors, only won there.
Big win.
Jumped in early. We then had the short where Sheridan won. I think it's Richard Fell. Our Fitness.
His name is Richard Fell.
Yeah, Richard Fell looked awesome.
Looks really good.
Yeah, looked really good. Like genuinely, he looked spot on. Like really good, lovely lad.
He's proper nice guy.
Yeah, proper nice guy. Sheridan class, like.
Yeah, Sheridan was really good.
Yeah, just like you're epitome of like a pretty boy men's physique. Like literally, just
this is what the issue was with you, is like the smiling and. Like if
the tan,
the tan and the smiling, like just makes such a massive difference.
Yeah,
and the glaze.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go into the tall. Yeah, I mean we're deep enough into the podcast to say, there's an absolute robbery that occurred. Deep enough, only people are listening.
No, but if you go through the reels, look how dry you just look. You can see you've just got no glaze on. You just look really dry compared to them. And even like again, your armpit with a patch,
like the comments, like I think there was a comment. It was like, "How did this guy not win with like 35 likes or something?" And like at the end of the day, people are gonna like support. I had the most muscle mass. People are gonna look at that and go, "Oh my god, that's a robbery." I've had genuinely probably about 300 messages, like plus, of people saying like, "Mate, this is an absolute farce." I've had voice notes from people I don't even know saying, like, I've been put off competing with the PCA, which I think is a bit drastic. There's reasons why it happens. Like, at the end of the day, it's an opinion, and it's not. There's things that we can change. So yeah, like I said, it's one of them. And then that was pretty much it for physique. There was Masters, wasn't there? Was there Masters? Yeah, Masters do look good. And then the overall Sheridan won.
Masters physique was really good, actually.
Yeah, he looked really sharp. So
Adam Nugent.
Yeah. So that was the PCA show. Right. Enough about PCA. I'm never competing with PCA men's physique ever again.
Overall winners. Emily Wilkinson. bikini.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
To be fair, the figure overall, she was mental. She was
Really?
so
I'll have a
good.
look.
Yeah, Natalie Drew. She was very
okay,
very
girl.
good.
Her?
No, she's bikini.
Oh.
She's very good for bikini.
Oh yeah. Oh, the girl. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw her. Yeah. Yeah.
She was very good. Sheridan obviously won, and then Craig, the Blade online coaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be fair, like if you look at the 4 overall winners, it was a good standard of a show. That they're all very good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see PCA overall and you go, okay, that was an okay show. The standard was very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the wrap up of the PCA Northwest.
There we go. Right, question time.
Yeah, sure.
Get into some questions, guys. Thanks as always for the questions.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Let's get into them. So, do you have, and I'll ask Finn this, do you have midnight hunger in prep, and how do you deal with it? Choices pre-bed meal. You have midnight hunger.
Midnight hunger, yeah.
Have you ever had midnight hunger?
No.
I've never been like, I've had one night of prep, this entire prep, where I remember going to bed thinking my stomach, it wasn't hungry, it was like my stomach just feels empty. It was after like a low day, a low rest day, and it was like, I think I was it was like pretty much like the last week of like digging, and I remember thinking to myself when I went to bed, God, I can tell I've not ate a lot. Like my stomach just felt hollow, but I wasn't hungry. Like I wasn't. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm assuming midnight hunger just means hunger at night.
Yeah.
Because like midnight would be 3 hours. I'm in bed. I've been in bed 3 hours. Like I'm not gonna be hungry at that time. Like, I'm not gonna wake up hungry. Like you might wake up for a wee and be like, oh my, like I'm not.
I don't wake up.
But I never think I'm hungry. All I think when I wake up to go for a wee is like stay relaxed because you need to fall straight back to sleep.
Yeah.
That's all I think in my head is like keep my eyes. I almost keep my eyes fully closed. I go up to the toilet. I have
talk
a wee.
to myself like.
I do like almost like just you go straight back to sleep.
I'll go for a wee. My record is preps 5 times, and I tell myself when I get up, I'm like, time to go back to bed.
Yeah,
I literally will, like talk
sleep,
to myself, talk to myself and walk my way through.
Sing yourself a little song.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah.
So no, we don't. And if we did, we just wouldn't eat. Thing is, I think if you manage your nutrient timing well, you shouldn't be going to bed hungry, really.
No, like food volume, like food choices. Like if let's say on my low days, I wouldn't have my first meal till like 11:30.
Yeah, but also like you're going to be hungry at times throughout the prep. Like if you're going to bed absolutely starving, I would say you probably haven't managed your food very well. 'Cause you've probably not eaten for the past 5 hours.
I remember Georgie Fit seeing her on a story once, like when she was prepping, and she put like when you finished all your macros by like 4:30 p.m. Lol, like tonight's going to be fun. And I literally remember like reading it. I actually don't know if it is.
I'm not saying she's an idiot, but if you've done
and
that
this was like 2 years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, what?
Why have you done that?
Like, so yeah, all good. In relation to to be fair, that's everything for that one. Yeah, I don't really need to say any more about Georgie Fit. Shout out Georgie Fit. Hopefully you're doing well.
Yeah. Okay, D_Siraliov asked us, healthy product / supplement that you will never find in your diet.
I got asked the exact same question.
Really? By who?
Yeah, I think it's the same dude. Try to find
It'd be strange if it wasn't.
Yeah, healthy product supplement. Yeah, that you never find. Good luck on Sunday. That's what he said.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, Finn needs the good luck because he's more nervous than I am going into show days.
So I don't know what he's doing backstage.
Healthy products / supplement you'll never find in your diet.
Turmeric.
Okay,
I'm not saying you never find it. You could eat it, but
well, I don't eat fish, so I'm gonna say omega-3s.
Yeah. See, I do have salmon, but I still have omega-3s. But yeah, I think turmeric's quite a good one because I can't imagine that many people are eating that much turmeric in their diet.
Yeah. You could go through just general health subs, like for example, the leaner you get, you could be like, well, if you're taking something like Clen, take your taurine, bro. Like taurine's gonna be something.
You could even say fibre when you're in a diet.
Yeah.
Like your fibre's gonna be probably relatively low if your overall food is relatively low.
Yeah.
So you could supplement with some psyllium husk or Digest Max.
This would be a good reel if we were to post up our supplements. Like if we were to send Sam a list and say supplements that we take, that we don't really get in our diet. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, we already just said them. There's not many.
Yeah, there's not many. Right, Sam, save your time.
Scrap that, Sam.
Yeah, right. We have top 5 songs on your playlist. Daniel Regan. I don't really like
top 5 songs. How do you find that out?
You put just like listen. I don't have a playlist. I don't have a gym playlist. I have liked songs. Yeah, I have liked songs that I just scroll all the way through. I'd say that's a playlist though. But my liked songs have like 5,000 likes on.
Obviously, I don't. I only have like 50.
Do you not? Oh, I have. Oh, I'll see here. 1,500 songs.
Yeah, I probably have about like 50 or something.
Yeah, so I don't really like have like a top. Do you have a top 5 on your 50?
Can you like sort it to show you? It'd be good if you could.
I'm not sure,
but I don't know. Like, I don't think I do, to be honest. Like, it's not like, I love these 5 songs.
Yeah.
Like, not really. I go through phases where certain songs will evoke more emotion, or certain songs I like a bit more. Like, usually if I've not listened to a song for ages, then I like it a bit for a few weeks, and then I don't listen to it again for a bit. Like,
yeah, I'm the same. I mean,
Prisoner is number 1 though for both of us.
Yeah, Prisoner. That was the song that we absolutely rinsed during the last lockdown.
Hashtag rinse.
Hashtag rinse. So yeah, unfortunately we don't really.
So
have
Prisoner
by the Weekend and Lana Del Rey.
times 5.
Shout out. Right, what's your go-to post-training meal? I need suggestions. So
okay, who's it?
Logan Fit 01. So Logan Fit
01.
You need to pick something that you can probably just get in a decent amount of. We know Glut 4 is heightened post-workout, guys. Glut 4 is heightened post-workout. Basically, our ability to assimilate nutrients is going to be highest in the post-workout setting. We're in a glycogen-deprived or somewhat, let's say, state where we need to be replenishing glycogen stores. So I would always opt for a food choice that's easy to get in, relatively low volume, relative to the phase. So, for example, currently my post-workout meal is cream of rice. When I'm in a gaining phase, it will be cereal. That's either Frosties or Cocoa Pops, depending on, let's say, preference. And then I will most likely add in, let's say, either potentially a highly brown cyclodextrin and with some whey, so in with a shake. Potentially, let's say, crumpets, jam, bagels, potentially like, let's say, some square bars. I used to have a square bar with literally 60 grams of jam just on top of it because it was easy to get in. And all I was thinking of is what can I get in relative to a high amount of carbs that's easy to get in. Now, does it have to be cereal? Does it have to be whey? Does it have to be... I just go for easy food choices that I'm not going to say enjoy, but they're just easy to get in and they digest well. Now, if you're in a fat loss phase, could it be more voluminous? Could it be rice? Could it be chicken? Could it be, let's say, something completely different? Yeah. So I would just say what sits well with you, what you somewhat enjoy that you can get a lot of in, and be just careful and cautious of the volume and digestion capabilities. What's your current post-training meal, bro? You have a rapid recovery shade, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I recover absolutely rapidly. CMP recover.
Yeah.
Within 15. To be fair, throughout my off season, there was a point where I was having 200 grams of. I was having this is what I was doing. I was having 200 grams plus of cereal, and then the liquid within the cereal was not only whey, but it was whey, carb powder, and cream of rice.
So what was it? So what's the most amount of carbs? Because I
think I was having 350 carbs post workout.
I had during the first lockdown, 370 grams of Frosties post workout, and it was torturous.
So that's just at 3, not far off. Yeah, 350.
Yeah, and that was awful.
Yeah, to be fair, but mine was actually okay because it wasn't that much volume. It was 200 grams of cereal isn't that much. No. But then when you add 50 grams of cream of rice, 50 grams of carb powder, it ends up being
on top the actual
it ends up being
viscosity.
Thick. It was thick, and then there's the graininess of the cream of rice when you're eating it.
I couldn't imagine. Even it's funny now. That to me sounds vile. My stomach, God, I couldn't imagine.
Mate, I couldn't think. I remember it wasn't nice at the time. It wouldn't be nice now. It's just like you say. It's how can you get food in?
Yeah, I remember coming out of prep and I had 250 grams worth of cereal. That was my post-workout meal, last prep. And the first 3 months, first 3 weeks, I was like, this is lovely.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of weeks, I remember thinking to myself, after a month, I was like, this bowl getting this is getting bigger.
Yeah, I don't actually like it.
And then after
anymore.
6 weeks, I was like, God, this is getting more challenging. And I remember literally going from a state of being really lean, needing food, and then adding some body fat, my appetite coming down. And I literally remember thinking to myself every week, I swear this 250 grams is getting bigger. This is getting harder and harder to get in. And eventually it got quite challenging. I remember the highest my food got post-workout in my last off-season, so literally prior to this prep, was, I think it was 270 cereal, and then a bagel, and then 60 grams of jam. So 310 carb, probably 320 carb. So around there, 300 to 320 carb post-workout. And that's usually what I'll kind of work up to. But this is when my carbs are 900 to 1,000 at peak. So yeah, for Logan, for example, if you might be hearing this and go, Jesus Christ, I need people could listen to that and go, wow, I need to eat 300 grams of carbs. No, if you're eating 500 carbs, you don't need 300 carbs post workout.
150 to 200.
Yeah, 150 to 200.
Dates as well. Dates. or any dried fruit. Very easy to get in.
All good. Right.
Elliot_trains. How important is a desensitized phase in a gaining phase?
Yeah, you got to so basically, when you're eating a lot of food, eventually your kind of just general sort of your appetite, your androgen receptors, your digestion capabilities, digestive enzymes, everything will just become oversaturated with just carbohydrates, and you therefore need to start to pull back. You just, if anything, your body will become less sensitive, so you need to have a desensitization phase. No, all seriousness,
surely desensitization would mean that you're getting less sensitive, so it would surely be a sensitization phase.
This is something that I genuinely wouldn't surprise me.
I've never ever said desensitization in my life.
I think
until now.
I genuinely think in like 3 years this will be something that people are going to be like, "Oh, I'm ready to desensitize."
I hate that.
Yeah, like something that was implemented like
I think
into
we'll
the
hate
nuance,
bodybuilding.
into the nuance of bodybuilding.
We do a bit anyway now.
Yeah, we both
how some things are.
Like about 2 years ago, I remember like there was a phase of like diet breaks coming around, and me and Finn kept having clients say, "Oh mate, I'm 4 months into a gaining phase. Any chance we can run a diet break?" And we were like, "No, just crack on and eat.
Get strong."
Like it gets to a point in any phase where
it's not easy.
It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. There was times in this prep where I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm just digging and digging and digging.
Can I have a diet break?
I didn't ask. I didn't say once I need a diet break. I was like, I'm still fat. I need to pull body fat off. It's the same, for example, in a gaining phase. There's going to be times where it will come around to a meal and you're like, I was saying this to a client earlier. We used to train on 3 meals, and by the time we probably finish our last mouthful of the meal, we're eating again within 2 hours. And the meals aren't small. The meals were big. The meals were probably 100 to 150 gram of carb minimum, each one with probably 10 to 15 grams of fat, probably 50 to 70 grams of protein. And we're then trying to get that in, then have an intra workout within so we're having like 4 meals and it's like 3 p.m, 4 p.m. And we've got work to do. It's not like we're just sat around doing nothing. We've got a lot on. And we're eating meals that take 20, 30 minutes to eat. And it can be a chore. Like productivity can be challenging,
it's
routine,
not fun.
structure.
I can't remember the last time I thought, eating all this food is fun.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Not supposed to be fun.
I remember like when I was I feel on my rest days, I'm more productive because I don't have to eat like that much food. All things considered, like
when I started my pre-prep diet, because obviously I had like a big drop off in food straight away. I was like, I have been wasting so much time eating. Like not wasting, obviously, because I was eating, but like I was so much more able to be so much more productive. I was like, I have so much more time available because I was spending probably 2 hours less eating across a whole day.
Yeah, I'd be in the kitchen at like, let's say I had my first meal at like 9:15 in my gaining phase. I'd be in the kitchen from like 8:45 making my food for the day. I'd eat the meal and it'd be like 9:45. I'd be like, that's an hour.
An hour's gone from prepping
just from
and
prepping and eating, and I've
and
still
then
got
2 hours
to eat
later
the meals.
you're eating again.
I've got to eat the meals. Yeah, it's like it takes.
We can obviously you can do work while obviously it depends on the person and what their job is. Like, luckily we can still do work somewhat while we're eating.
We've not even answered the question. You don't need to run one. Eat your fucking food.
Yeah, decent. I'd never even heard of the word.
Yeah.
I don't even think it is a word. I think the word would be sensitization, to be honest.
Yeah, right. So
why would you want to ever desensitize?
Exactly. 2 questions about PDs. Thoughts on PED use at a young age. Recommendations for young people starting. And then also from your client? I can't say his name. Eon. It's not Eon. Owen, yeah. Eon Halloran. How and who did you first learn about using PEDs correctly? So it's not like who. I didn't go to a sensei and say, excuse me, sir, can you teach me the art of taking
in the gym.
PDs? Just go to the biggest guy in the gym, bro. That's what you go for. So firstly, to answer Cole, I shouldn't probably answer, maybe I should say his name. His name's Cole, but I always say his surname. Thoughts on PED use at a young age? The fact he said at a young age makes me believe you're probably going into it with the wrong sort of mentality. Like in the sense of, if you're young, you probably don't need PDs. I trained for 9 years without taking anything performance enhancing. That's not to say you need to train for 9 years. It's just a case of don't rush into it. Like I always said, unless my goals aligned or I was making money where therefore my goals aligned with the fitness industry and therefore taking PDs, then that would make sense for me. But I wouldn't just be taking PDs to, let's say, for egotistical reasons, which unfortunately a lot of people do, and they just rush into it. So make sure it's in line with your goals and there's no need ever to rush into it. There's a lot that you can do training naturally, and if anything, I'd argue it's probably more enjoyable because it's literally just now your training, now your nutrition, now your recovery. When it comes to actually learning about it, again, something you do not need to rush. This is something that I've probably paid investment towards when it comes to multiple member sites, asking questions to people that I know, let's say through social media, actually know what they're talking about, watching copious amounts of podcasts and YouTube videos, literally being on forums for hours. I used to, when I dieted in the summer of like 2018, 19, I'd literally, like, on my morning walks for like an hour when I was doing my steps, I'd be like on the JP forum just reading and just having a look and like literally jotting down notes. If I was to go onto my notes and type in PEDS, I genuinely would have like an absolute Bible on my notes of just notes of first cycles, what to deploy when, how to let's say analyze blood work. And there's not like a do this, do that. I would recommend, if I was to look at anything, I'd probably say just to hire a coach who is knowledgeable in the area, but then also at the same time actually still put some research in yourself. Something that drives me mad is if you were to hire a coach, ask them questions. If your coach can't tell you why and what you're taking, in my opinion, you've got an awful coach. Like, that coach, especially when it comes to enhancement, should be able to tell you the reasons why and give you the right level of understanding, so therefore you actually learn about the process, because it's your body you're putting at harm, like your hormones and your health that you're putting at risk. So if anything, it's something, again, you don't need to rush. Put the right amount of time into it. Plenty of podcasts, YouTube videos, forums, members' websites, and just don't rush the process, and understand that there's probably going to be things that, again, like how many times will we hear people say something to us in the gym that we're like, what the fuck? Or like
I
side
don't
effects.
even have good knowledge on it,
No.
and I still...
Yeah, or side effects. And people act like, oh, hey, mate, I got gyno, or I've had acne. And it's like, do you expect it to be plain sailing? Like, if
I just don't... I really don't understand it.
No.
Because, in my opinion, in anything in life, if there was any real risk and you didn't have a clue what you were doing, why would you do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what the rewards are, like...
No.
Would you rob a bank because it's like,
Funny,
it's a good idea?
That, yeah. Like, you get loads of money, but you get caught, and you're like, oh my god, I got caught.
I got caught. What? Like, just like, would you not know that was a potential risk?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course you did. Like, and if you didn't, you were deluded. Like, yeah. And if you're gonna rob a bank, research it properly.
Yeah.
And do it properly.
Money heist. Do that. That's what you should do. So yeah.
Will Bertolini. This is funny because it's kind of similar to the last one. Opinion on maintenance phases. Around gaining and dieting phases. Now, he did ask me this on WhatsApp, and I've already got back to him. So.
I'll interject and say, like, maintenance phases, if we're actually calling like a holding phase and a gaining phase, I actually think are productive. So that's something that I probably should have actually mentioned. Like, in a push-up, there's times where you don't actually have to push up. You can hold. My 8 weeks prior to me starting prep, was pretty much a holding phase prior to a 4-week pullback. So it was like 4 weeks of a pullback, 8 weeks maintenance, should we say, of body weight. So like 12 weeks of my like last push-up was literally sticking at the same point and then coming down. So you could argue, oh god, you've had a maintenance block, but I was still the problem is people think maintenance and they think training volume comes down, training intensity comes down, my effort comes down, and I'm not gonna really try that hard. And it's just easy, because a maintenance phase, imagine going into the gym and saying, I'm going to do less volume today. I'm only going to train, I'm going to do one less session this week. I'm going to have an extra off-plan meal. I'm going to be less structured. That sounds lovely for most people. But unfortunately, when you set the standards here, and then you pull them down...
I can't think of anything worse than doing that.
No, I can't. But that's because of our goals and how things are. And I'd feel like, why am I... If I set the standards here, in 6 months from now, I want to be here. In 12 months from now, I want to be here.
The way I explained it to Will was basically like, at least the vast 95% of people, if not 99% of people...
Can I go for a wee then? I'm desperate need.
Yeah, I'll carry on. Cool. So I was going to say, 99% of people don't have the luxury of not building muscle at any given time. Like, the majority of us all need more muscle. There's a fair few, let's say people at the top of the sport, that are like, okay, I don't really need more muscle. I just need to sort of fine tune, and maybe I need to sort of improve the balance in my physique or whatever it is. But for the vast majority of us, probably everybody listening to this podcast, we still need more muscle. Everybody still needs more muscle in terms of becoming a better bodybuilder, or even just being happy with how you look. So running a maintenance phase, I'm not saying that, let's say, a 4-week maintenance block is going to mean that you just waste 4 weeks and don't try and build any muscle, but it's probably not going to be as productive as if you do really keep pushing on and trying to build muscle. And again, like a maintenance phase in terms of food, I am a advocate for, in regards to throughout a lot, like my gaining phase was 125 weeks in total. I had a pre-prep diet within that, but I also had multiple like weeks where I was holding. I'd probably push up and I might gain, let's say, across a month 2 to 4 pounds. I might do that for 2 or 3 months, and then it's like, okay, I've gained a bit quickly. Now I'll just hold. Yeah, and in terms of when that holding period, it would be off-plan meals would be more controlled. I would potentially just bump steps up a little bit from, let's say, 7 to 8,000 to 9 to 10,000, like little things like that to just slow that rate of gain down. I'm definitely an advocate of that, because otherwise you get to a point where gaining phase just keeps going up and up and up, and you get too sloppy and you're like, oh, I don't really look good. I'm going to have to diet. And ultimately, if we're in a diet phase, we're probably not in we're not in as productive of a phase as when we're able to be pushing up or holding. Because even when you're holding, you're still on plenty of food. Yeah, you're not realistically in a holding phase. Even if you do bring food down a little bit, you're not bringing it down a substantial amount where you're going to be really flat and you're going to be losing body weight. So basically what I'm saying there is that none of us have the luxury of quote unquote wasting time not trying to grow. Do you agree?
Yes, I heard what you mentioned. I could hear you in the toilet.
Do you agree in terms of, like, let's say somebody said to you, a client said,
it's a waste of time.
I want to have a meso with a maintenance for, let's say, 6 weeks of a maintenance meso where I'm going to keep volume really low and I'm not going to push, basically. I'd say, why are you wasting 6 weeks?
Yeah, I look at it and think, like, if you were to say to me, I'm dieting, I'd be like, right, cool, this is going to be in a spot where can you still grow and progress? Yes, but is it optimal? No. So why would you waste time in a diet? Like, so a maintenance phase, I'd be like, if I'm not getting leaner, but if I'm not getting leaner, I'd be like, well, I'm just sticking at the same point. So why? I'd rather like run a really aggressive diet and at least get leaner, and then be like, oh, at least I'm leaner now and I can push back up. But again,
I think the main premise of it is, like, ultimately you're going to be, let's say the body's going to be really fresh, ready to go into the next phase, whether that be a push up or whether it be a diet.
But I'd say it's more mental freshness.
Yeah, but what I would say is there's also a massive benefit of starting a diet on a hell of a lot of food and very, very strong. Like, that's I'd much rather be in that position where I've started my diet on a lot of food, very strong, training's at the best it's ever been, and then starting a diet. That, for me, is a much better position to start a diet than starting from a period where sort of food's okay, it's moderate to high, training's okay, it's, I've sort of taken my foot off the gas, now I'm going to go into a diet. Like,
now it's blinkers on, brother.
Yeah, it's like, realistically, is that going to make a massive difference? That short phase where you just pull back a little bit, is it going to make such a massive difference that it's so beneficial that it's like, hey, you need to do that?
I think the only way that it makes somewhat sense is if, let's say, recovery capabilities are skewed due to external stress, illness, stuff like injury potentially.
Yeah, but or again, likewise, I wouldn't even call it a maintenance phase.
From like a PED perspective, you go from a super physiological range of androgens down to a maintenance point, and as a result, you're like, okay, I probably can't get away with smashing in the same amount of food, but then at the same time, like what you mentioned, like there's other things to manipulate.
Would you call it a maintenance phase? You wouldn't. It's just part of the process. Like, if I have a client that's ill, I don't go, right, maintenance phase. No. I go, okay, right, let's take a few days off. Let's see where you're at. We'll ease back into training. Yeah. And it might be 2 or 3 weeks where they're easing back in.
Come on, you need to understand the
We should call it something.
Yeah, Will's already running 6-week deloads. So
he's getting a bit fatigued at the back end of this one.
Yeah, 6 weeks needs to drop down to 5.
Yeah, we'll drop it down to 4, actually.
Yeah, right.
2?
2 weeks.
How many weeks is 2 little weeks in terms of a meso?
I don't know, it depends.
I'd say less than 4.
I could, with how strong I am, I could trash myself in 3 weeks, I'd say. I could do 3-week mesos if I was to bury myself.
Mate, anybody could. I'm not saying how little weeks could you do. I'm saying what would be what would be productive. I think 4 weeks. You could do a month on, 1 week off. A month. I don't think that's actually that
a week
ridiculous.
Off though, man. Like a whole week. After a month, let's
say a month and then 4 days. Yeah. But I still don't think that's ridiculous. Yeah. But I still think it's unnecessary for probably 90% of people. Yeah, or 95 or 99. Right.
Ben has asked, 0.5. Do you have clients?
Who's Ben?
Ben Sumner. Sumner. Do you have clients that track low-cal salads, e.g., lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, mushrooms?
Yeah, I'd tell my clients to track everything.
Yeah, I always say, like, if it's consistent
calories.
and you and it's always the same, then you don't have to track it. But why wouldn't you want to track it? Like, it's data. It's something that I find, and also in a diet, especially towards the latter end of a prep, I don't care who you are, you will use more sauce. You will use more
if you're not tracking
lettuce. You will use more this. You'll use more that, and it adds up. And the volume of it can play a role. I just look at it and think, like, just track it, bro. Like, you don't need to even really count it. Like, are you going to overeat? Like, for example, post-show, am I going to probably, like, I remember last time I didn't track my lettuce in my first meal. I didn't track my lettuce in my actual final meal either. But And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going to overeat on lettuce. Post-show, I'm going to enjoy a little bit of flexibility. But in my head, I still kind of tracked it. Like, it was just like, I'm not going to. I remember saying to myself, I'm not going to. I still kind of did. And I knew exactly what I had. And I kept it roughly the same. But if I fancied a bit more lettuce, if I was hungry, I'm like, I'm not going to overeat on lettuce. Yeah. But at the same time,
I don't know.
If you're like not tracking, let's say, your low-fat mayo.
I just find it easier to just track it.
Yeah, it is easier. And it's consistent. Like, my mum tracks all her food. And Russell, so my mum's boyfriend, like, they went away and she was tracking her, tracking her food. And Russell was like, you're having like a bowl of like oats. Why are you not just putting a sachet? And Mum was like, I want to know what I'm eating. And she was like, I don't want to have one day where I have 10 grams more, 10 grams less. Like, I just want to eat the same. And my mum's got no bodybuilding goals. She just tracks her food because of what the education that I've told her. And she diets like in the summer. She's more serious than the average individual, but she just wants to know, okay, I always check. She tracks her veg in her final meal. She has the same amount of tomatoes. It's just keeping things consistent. It's like, this is the food I like. This is what fills me up. This is what I feel good about.
Yeah, it's literally that. Yeah. It's what makes you feel good. Like, how often do you have people go, oh, didn't feel good like today, or this session didn't go well, or I felt really shit today? And it's like, well, yeah, your food's all over the place. Your food's completely different today than it was yesterday. Yeah. Like, no wonder you didn't feel good. You ate like 200 carbs less or 200 carbs more right before you trained. I felt you felt bloated because you ate loads of food before.
The best session I had was when I didn't have my pre-workout meal. I didn't have my pre-workout crumpets when I was at a show. So I had a whole pack of square bars pre-workout with my chicken and rice. I felt fucking awesome. I got a wicked
best session ever.
It genuinely was an awesome session. RDL 275 was my best ever RDL, and I was like, probably need to do that more often. Yeah. Like, probably need to like crumpets and jam, but it's equivalent of carbs. No, just need loads of square bars. That's what it is. So
this is also from Will Bertolini. Good question, this. How many form feedback clips do you go through a day?
Oh, I said this on my last reel. I honestly looked through and like a stupid.
If we were to try and break it down, let's say a session has 8 to 10 videos, maybe 5 to 10, because sometimes people will send a little bit less of the whole session. Sometimes people might send a couple of sets from each exercise, so if let's say 7 from a session. Let's round it like in the middle. Yeah. How many sessions do you think you go through on a given day?
I remember there was one time went to Rotherham, and I said to Sanaa, I feel like I've had a lot of messages today. It was like 11:45, and I counted that I had like 39 chats from when I'd woke up till 11:30, and that was check-ins, but then also form feedbacks. And I thought to myself, 39 people have reached out since, and it was like literally within 3 hours of me being awake.
Have a look on today.
Yeah.
Count how many people from today.
Okay, what I've messaged?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Hope you're enjoying this, guys.
Got it. How many for you? You're still going.
49.
Oh, he beat me. 46. So it's currently 7 o'clock. And like that's 50 people.
That's not 50 people sending training clips.
No.
But I'd say probably 30 to 35 probably are.
Yeah, and that's 30 to 35 times 8
7.
to 12. Yeah, like.
Well, let's say.
Yeah,
and let's say 35 times 7.
Yeah.
Probably I would say on average 200 to 200-ish form clips.
Yeah, but it's sometimes inconsistent. Some days, like a Sunday, for example.
Yeah,
I have a
for
clients
rest days, Thursdays and Sundays, I have quite a lot of clients on rest days.
Yeah, so it's like, not that many form clips. And then like Monday will come around and it's like an absolute swamp of, hey mate, hope all is good, here's some training clips. You know?
But we love it.
Yeah.
We absolutely love it.
Yeah, it is. And that's it probably seems like we're just complaining that.
I'm not complaining at all. I'm actually like, that's fucking
I like
cool.
It. Yeah, I like it.
I think that's really cool.
I'd hate it if, I always say to clients, send me clips, make me work.
I do.
Yeah. Right, let's have a look.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, a few more.
Quick fire, last few.
What's the most amount of cardio you've done in a prep? For me, 60 mins.
Mine was really low last time, less than I'm doing now.
You weren't doing any really towards the end, were you?
I wasn't doing any pretty much all the way through. I think I did 35 on rest days, which was like twice a week.
Now for me, it's like, it's been literally, it got up to 45 minutes on a rest day, 35 minutes on a training day. Now I did 30 minutes today because it's a rest day. I do 20 minutes now on non-training.
I just do 35 minutes every morning.
Yeah, I look at expenditure as like a baseline. I feel like you just pull food if you need to. Like we've said this, like for me, like could I have done more? Yeah. Could I have done less? Yeah. But I just keep it as a baseline. Same with steps. Like my steps last time got a lot higher. They don't need to get high It's more so what fits your routine and what can be your baseline.
This is Jamie Jackson. Jamie Jackson, one of my clients. Thanks for the question, mate. Ask Reece what the rear lights on your Mustang look like. I think he means I'd be ahead of you.
My car's way faster than yours.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so yeah, I got Finn had the 5 litre, maybe. I think the 5 litre is the same power as mine.
I think that's a bit more, I think.
No, it's the same. I think it's 410 horsepower. I think it's similar.
Reece has actually gone to the hassle of checking whose car weighs more.
I got my electric pair scales.
Yeah, he's gone and weighed it out.
Drove them out. We were talking about weighing stuff, and we were like, "What gets tracked gets managed, bro."
Yeah,
so
I've got to track my car.
yeah.
Butcher's wet dream. Do you think CHO, so carb, mouth rinse, could be valuable during the latter stages of prep or later stages of prep, e.g. intra? So he's doing, at the minute, his dissertation is about carb and protein mouth rinse, I'm pretty sure.
Mouth rinse?
Yeah, so like, for example, let's say you were having a carbohydrate drink, but you weren't drinking it, you were just rinsing your mouth and then spitting it out. Do you think that would be valuable during the later stages in a prep, e.g. using that as your intra but not drinking it to save... Let's say you weren't using saving calories or carbs. Mate, it's like legitimately there's a lot of studies around it.
Okay, I'm going to be completely flat out honest and say, send me the study when you're done, because I'll happily... Send me some studies that have been...
Yeah, send us the studies that you definitely didn't...
Absolutely.
You definitely didn't manipulate the results, did you, mate?
Yeah. I have absolutely no idea, like genuinely. I
in
actually
my
like something like this, because I don't really have any understanding. Let me know. Tell me what the data is.
I don't know enough about it, but I also just don't think it would be needed in bodybuilding. I think if you were, let's say you were trying to make weight potentially for classic or something, and you were really struggling energy wise, and you wanted something sweet, and you were going hyper all the time, you wanted something like, you could potentially try that, swilling your mouth out and spitting it out. But yeah, I don't think it would be that beneficial, to be honest. I mean, there might be some data behind it, but
I'd happily read through the studies and data, because anything like that, I don't really have much of an understanding. So yeah, opinions on my protein.
Amazing clear whey.
The amazing clear whey, the worst way in the world. Shit yourself afterwards.
I haven't had it in a long time.
What would you rather have, like my cream of rice that I make when I'm like peak off season, or like 150 grams of whey from my protein?
Your cream of rice, even though it looks awful, but I imagine it'd digest alright with me.
Yeah, it's alright. I was thinking of like an example of like what would be like really unpalatable. Like, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah, your cream of rice is shit.
I would absolutely despise to have, like, for you to be like, yo, bro, have a shake of my protein. I'd be like, oh god, really?
I don't know. It depends. It might be all right now. We've not had it for a long time.
Yeah, maybe.
Oren O'Neill, what's the story of the worst clients you guys have ever had, aka biggest bell end?
I feel like we should start. That's the one we should start with. I feel like we should save that.
Will we remember?
Well, no, to be fair, it's the end of the pod. That camera's about to die.
Last one. Have you got any more questions?
No, we'll go through that. That'll be the last question. We'll go through that.
We don't have to name names, so we can...
Your client that was during the first lockdown that didn't trust you and wanted to sign back up. Oh, that was...
So I had a client who... I won't name him, but I had a client who basically signed up, and it was in lockdown, so he had equipment at home, and he was basically like questioning things, which is fine. Like, I want people to ask me questions. And I was obviously giving him the answers. Like, I was sort of saying my rationale behind all the decisions that I was making and why we were doing what we were doing. And then within like 2-3 days, well, basically like with his training, so he'd be like leaving reps in reserve on like a row, like let's say a barbell row, because he was saying that he would need to save energy for his rear delts, rear delt fly, that he was then still leaving reps in reserve for. So I was like saying, like, that doesn't make sense, mate. That's why we have the exercise sequencing as it is, because your harder movements are earlier on. So anyway, the cameras are going to die, so I'll wrap it up.
That's that for Finn. We'll start the next one with my one. So
okay, I've not really done the answer, but okay.
No,
we'll remember.
That camera's going to die. We're going to have to change the batteries.
We'll remember.
Oh yeah, we don't have them.
Go on then.
Right, that's it. Podcast done. Both cameras about to die. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for all the story tags. Episode 102. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. See you later. Bye-bye.